Pywel, a vast and wondrous continent, one of rugged landscapes cut through by meandering rivers, forests of ancient trees that tower over all beneath their canopies, a vast searing desert of crimson rock, and much more. Various races and civilizations inhabit the lands of this continent. Some fight over matters of territory, faith, and power, whilst others work together, forming tight-knit communities that farm, trade, and revel in the simple joys of life. The greatest of these communities form well-organized settlements, some of which develop into bustling towns that, over time, become grand cities of opulence, innovation, and order. One of these towns, where many begin their journey in this world, is Hernand, the seat of power for the duchy that shares the same name. This quaint, idyllic town is located at the heart of the duchy, beside a mesa upon which sits the mighty Hernand Castle, where the Duke of the land resides. Within the shadow of this castle, the town of Hernand is kept safe from the threats that exist throughout the duchy, making it a popular and vital destination for commerce, politics, and leisure. Join me as I take you on a tour of this town, through the streets that connect the shops and manors of its most prominent citizens to other, perhaps less familiar attractions that make this town unique. I'd like to begin by talking a little bit about the general design and layout of the town. The town is situated on a hill that has natural escarpments that separate it from the valley of farmland to the south, which directly supports the town. In fact, this separation is most apparent by a cliff, which begins from a small wooden bridge that crosses the Western River and stretches east, ending at a slope that leads up into the town. Another cliff rounds the terrace that the church is built on, moving north somewhat parallel to the Nass River. There is also another tall cliff that is part of the upper terrace that the castle sits on. This rough terrain limits the routes one takes to reach the town. While such geography can be annoying for travelers to navigate, it provides a strong natural defense against invaders. This is even more true for the castle, sitting atop said upper terrace, overlooking the town and lands beyond. There are 4 primary roads that connect to the town. The first is the eastern road, which begins all the way from the kingdom of Demonis, crossing the Nass River and running through the southern farms before moving up the aforementioned slope. This road connects with a second one which, if followed, brings one to the southwestern region of Hernand. The third primary road comes down from the mountains to the northwest, leading to the western entrance of the town. This road also connects to the fourth one, which stretches northward, crossing the Nass River by way of a long wooden bridge as it continues on to the tribal state of Pewel. I should note that there is a fifth, less traveled road that crosses a ford in the Nass River, south of the long bridge, that splits at a crossroads, either connecting to the primary northern road or going south to an entrance into the town near the church. Speaking of entrances, the town has several. There are 2 main entrances, the first of which is located at the west side of the town. The second main entrance is at the central, southern part of the town. While traders traveling along the eastern road will make use of this entrance, the local populace have plenty of other secondary entrances to use nearby. Other secondary entrances include the eastern one near the church, and another southwestern one near a couple of the town manors. Upon entering the town, the dirt roads transform into cobblestone streets, many of which feature a gutter in the middle. Thanks to being constructed on a slope, the town is able to effectively drain water after a storm, along with any other waste into the sewer below. The town has a single main street that connects the western and central southern entrances. From this main street, several side streets branch off from it, along with a few narrow alleys and steps providing additional shortcuts to reach the various shops and services the town provides. Next, I'd like to observe the town's architecture. With the exception of the manors, most of the buildings are basic in their design, but what they all have in common are the materials used in their construction. White stone and wood are the most prominent, and most convenient to acquire in the region. When it comes to stone, much of it is extracted from the Pywel quarry, southwest of the town near the Witchwoods, the Karen quarry in the northeast, and the South quarry in the southeast, all of which are owned by one of the prominent houses of Hernand. Some buildings have the stone covered with a layer of plaster, particularly if it's the second floor of the structure. The exposed wooden beams of these walls show they were created through a wattle and daub technique. The wood for the buildings is acquired by chopping down trees nearby, which are then transformed into timber at the Timberham sawmill just southwest of the town. The roof tiles seem to be primarily made of clay, which is why most have natural earthy colors of orange, maroon, and brown. However, the darker gray-blue colored tiles of a few of the buildings could be made of slate instead of clay. Now let's begin our tour of the town, starting at the western main entrance. Just outside it is a guard station, run by one Constable Antony, a mid-level, albeit exemplary overseer. This is where free swords can turn in captured criminals with wanted bounties. The more notorious the criminal, the greater the reward, so long as the criminal was brought in alive. If dead, only half the posted reward will be paid out. Just across the road from the guard station are the gallows, where condemned criminals may be publicly executed for their crimes. As the visitor walks through the western entrance, they will see the town bell tower on their left. The bell tower serves a variety of roles for the town, including announcing the time, calling the residents to important functions, or warning them of approaching invaders. Should one manage to climb up the building and reach the tower, they can indeed ring the bell, which carries its sound to every corner of the city. Should one turn right following the cobblestone road, they will find themselves at Oakenshield Manor, the home of the Marquis Circus, right hand of Duke Celeste. This manor once served as an oak farm, but is now used as residence. The inside of the manor is lavishly furnished, as fits the status of the Marquis Circus and his family. Occasionally, the Marquis will provide free meals to some of the impoverished citizens of the town in the manor's great hall, whilst more official business is conducted in his cozy office on the second floor. It should be noted that one should be careful when approaching any of the manors in this town, for the guards won't tolerate unknown people attempting to enter such places without official approval. After a visit at Oakenshield Manor, we can backtrack to the western entrance and then follow the road east, where we'll find ourselves in the town center, denoted by a single tree standing tall in the middle. Beside this tree is a notice board, where citizens post jobs for those looking to make some extra coin. Bounties from the town garrison are also posted onto this board, as well as on the lampposts along the streets. The structure that most defines the heart of the town is the trade goods black market. This market is run by an irritable goblin named Derek, proving that the best hiding place to run such an operation is in plain sight. The shop is filled with all kinds of goods, from the mundane but practical, to the odd yet luxurious, and possibly the illegal. Attached to the black market is another building where Leon Roberts conducts his own business. Leon is one of the counts of Hernand, and head of House Roberts, a merchant family with a long history. When not working, Leon resides at the Bluemont Manor, located just south of the black market. Here, Roberts frequently hosts lavish banquets with high-ranking nobles, and even sponsors artists within his estate. Walking along a branching street north from the town center brings us to the singular bank in the town. Inside, you will find the head of this bank, a friendly troll named Grover. Since his childhood, Grover built up a considerable personal fortune through steady saving. With his cautious and conservative nature, he avoids risk at all costs, seeing countless people lose everything to reckless investment made in the hope of striking it rich. Grover offers a variety of financial services. In particular, one can buy a personal strongbox permit. This enables the client to store gold bars inside, which will then be invested according to their chosen investment strategy, one that will hopefully yield reasonable profits in the future. Returning to the town center after our visit to the bank, we can continue our walk west along the main road. To our left is the town tavern, a popular spot for free swords, as well as being an ideal place for gathering information, relaxing after work, or resting after a day of traveling. The tavern is run by a woman named Dahlia, selling food and beverage for the parched and hungry patrons that enter. Besides food and drink, arm wrestling is a popular activity among the folks inside, so much so that bets are often placed on who will win these contests of strength. On the second floor are rooms for those who wish to spend a night. Perhaps more importantly though, there is another kind of room, one where the light is dim and smoke fills the air of this often crowded space. Inside another game, Duo is played. This is not a game of physical strength, but mental acuity. The buy-in is cheap, and the gains for winning can be significant, as are the consequences for losing, or being caught cheating. Going down a side street directly south of the tavern is where we can find a couple of places to purchase ingredients to cook our own food. The first of these is the grocer's shop, owned and operated by Delkin. Delkin insists on using only fresh ingredients sourced from the fields and plains of Hernand. Almost any crop grown in Hernand can be acquired here, such as lettuce, carrots, turnips, and more. If you're craving meat, then you only need to take a short walk down the street to find the butchery. This place is run by an orc named Rene, who maintains good relations with nearby farm owners to secure high-quality meat. Another business nearby, not marked by any maps of the town, is what appears to be a farrier and/or saddler. The former cleans the hooves and replaces the shoes of a horse, while the latter crafts horse tack, such as saddles, bridles, and other related equestrian equipment. Heading back north toward the tavern, we can take a right to continue down the main street, where on our right is a building with a variety of merchandise on display beside it. This is the provisioner's shop, where inside you can buy tools, fishing rods, home decor, and other, well, provisional goods. The shop is run by the Lazy Alden, a moniker he has acquired due to him having more fun socializing with people rather than actually selling his goods. Across the street from the provisioner's shop is the equipment shop, which also includes the smithy and tailor's shop. The equipment shop is located outside a large building, featuring an awning alongside a table display of weapons and armor. A troll vendor named Rhett runs the shop. His moniker is the Artist of Iron, for he became a master of ironwork thanks to having been blessed with talented hands from a young age. Behind Rhett's shop, inside the building, is where the smithy, Ternali, works. A master of fire and metal, Ternali can restore any weapon or armor to mint condition. He can also refine already existing ones. In addition, Ternali can craft any equipment one desires, so long as he has provided the necessary materials to do so. The exception to this is anyone who presents Ternali with a Hernand refinement token, in which case, the material cost of refining equipment will automatically be covered. Just outside Ternali's shop is a grindstone one can use to sharpen their weapons free of charge. Beside the smithy is the long-established tailor shop. The shop is run by Tina, who satisfies customers with traditional and modern clothing styles. If one is skilled enough, they can use her loom to create their own fabric-based decor, such as rugs. From the equipment shop, we can make our way to the eastern side of the town along one of the side streets. We'll come upon a small, seemingly unremarkable building, with a hanging sign depicting a bucket. This is what I like to call the alchemy house, where one can use a cauldron to brew medicine by adding herbs. The cauldron can be used to make dyes, too. Various other alchemical equipment can be found here, along with many books on brewing techniques and other related subjects. Continuing east following the road, we arrive at Hillside Manor, the last of the manors in this town. It is the home of Count Frederick Felix, a highly trusted confidant of Duke Celeste, a fact that is most prominent given the manor's location being so close to the castle. House Felix is typically overshadowed by House Roberts and House Circus, but through their cartography workshop and bookbindery, they strive to lead a new intellectual movement within Hernand. After visiting Hillside Manor, we can backtrack a short walk westward, before turning south, where the cobblestone street gives way to one of dirt mixed with stepping stones and wooden planks. Nearby, we can see racks of animal hides swaying in the wind, which tells us we've reached the tannery. Inside, we find the tanner himself, Bran, who sells a variety of leathers and animal hides, from the most common to the rarest and difficult to find. From the tannery, we can continue east along the dirt street to the final, primary building in the town, the Church of Hernand. Though not as grand as some of the churches that can be found in other territories of Pywel, it nevertheless provides the citizens of the town and the surrounding region with all their spiritual needs. While basic looking on the outside, the inside of the church is quite majestic, with stone pillars supporting rib-vaulted ceilings from which a couple of iron chandeliers hang down from the center. Beside the main entrance is the confessional, overseen by a priest named Alfred. Here, one can, for a fee, absolve themselves of any wrongdoing in the eyes of the Church of Solomon. This includes the removal of any bounties the person may have on them by purchasing a writ of absolution, although higher bounties will require a higher cost to remove. One can also buy other church-related items from Alfred, such as holy water to cleanse ailments, or a day pass to St. Halsius' House of Healing, located far outside the town. If one wishes to make a donation to the church, they can do so at the donation box. This serves as a way for the faithful to prove their devotion through offerings. While it's uncertain if wealth can move the heart of God, it will certainly move the hearts of the priests. At the far end of the church is the sanctuary where the altar is located, from which a priest administers Mass. Behind the altar is the apse, where a statue of what I think is Saint Senia is located. Attached to the church is what looks to be the rectory, which serves as the home for the priests that minister here. On the first floor is a large room that acts as the kitchen, dining, and storage for the clergy. Bread that is made here is often shared to the nearby hovels by the resident priests as part of the church's charitable services. On the second floor of the rectory are the bedrooms for the resident priests. Just north of the church, going a short distance down a slope, is the town cemetery. Many townsfolk, and those of the surrounding region, are buried here, overlooking the land they lived most of their lives on. While walking through the town, one will notice many beggars in the streets and alleyways. These beggars are a more recent, unwanted addition to the town. They are mostly made up of people from other parts of the duchy hoping to escape the myriad of hostile groups that have overrun swaths of the territory in recent times. Tossing them a single coin will earn you their gratitude for the day. Many stay at a couple of beggar camps located just outside the town. Arguably, the town wouldn't exist today were it not for the great castle sitting atop the upper terrace of the mesa. I've already mentioned the natural defenses provided by the canyons and river which hinder an invading army's attack on the castle. Should such an army make it past these natural barriers, they would still have to contend with the castle's thick stone walls, horseshoe towers, and the iron portcullises of its two gatehouses. These defenses are further bolstered by an array of battlements, arrow slits, matriculations, and hoardings. Even then, these could be considered the outer defenses, as the keep itself is just as well fortified. As mentioned, there are two gatehouses, the first of which is located at the south side of the castle, with a cobblestone street leading down into the town proper. The second is located at the east side of the castle, where the northern and western dirt roads merge. Anyone wishing to enter the castle must undergo a thorough search by the guards at the gatehouses before being allowed in. However, those individuals who have a high positive reputation in the duchy are allowed to enter hassle-free. Just outside this gatehouse is a camp of tents and merchandise. This is the royal trading post, serving as the heart of eastern trade. Nobles and merchant guilds gather here to select the finest goods to be offered to the royal court, with every delivered item being sent directly to the royal storage. Trade goods that are highly sought after will fetch a much higher price if sold here at the royal trade post compared to other standard posts, such as those set up by the Gold Leaf Trading Company. Within the walls, in the center of the bailey, is a pristine garden where castle staff and members of the nobility can relax. While guardsmen are allowed to do the same, it is only when they're off duty, as they spend most of the day stationed at their posts, patrolling the town, including its outskirts, and training within a fenced enclosure. Nearby this training ground is a small stable for horses, along with a single trebuchet. There are also two cannons near the southern wall, which look to be recent additions. Aside from the keep itself, the prominent building within the castle walls is the banquet hall. This hall is primarily used to host political delegations and festivities such as the Harvest Festival. At the head of the banquet hall is a table and 3 chairs. This is where the leaders of the 3 core houses of Hernand are seated, those being Charles Celeste, Alan Circus, and Alistair Grace. Distinguished guests, nobles, and members of Hernand's other prominent houses are seated at the tables located in the aisles of the building. Recently, the banquet hall was damaged by a giant beast called Kirush the Slayer, who was only driven off thanks to Cliff the Greymane. Beside the keep, inside one of the towers near the southern gatehouse, is where the contribution office is located. This is where special items and equipment are reserved for those most devoted to Hernand. These items cannot be bought with standard currency, but with specific marks that are awarded by the assessor of this office, Haldwin. Serving under Duke Celeste, Haldwin is known for his meticulous nature, having never missed an entry or made a single mistake in his role. Finally, we get to the keep, whose exterior is most defined by the square tower in the middle, rising up to become the highest point in the town. At the foot of this tower is the main entrance that one utilizes to enter inside. Stepping through, one is greeted with a great hall supported by vaulted ceilings from which chandeliers hang down from, being the hall's primary sources of light. Cabinets, paintings, and armor displays line the walls, from which there are doorways leading to a few side rooms. A stairwell on the right of the entrance leads to the upper floors of the keep. While I won't be commenting on every room here, I will highlight a few of the most notable ones. The first of these is the kitchen, where staff prepare food for the Duke and his guests, as well as any events taking place at the banquet hall nearby. Another is what looks to be an archive, which could also function as a library, containing records related to the town and wider duchy. The rooms at the end of the Great Hall function as the sleeping quarters for some of the castle staff. Then there's the Alchemist Chamber, where only those who are attuned to the Abyss can access a secret doorway leading to the Axiom Archive. Next is the Office Chamber, where the Duke and heads of the Hernand houses meet to discuss matters involving the entire duchy. Above this office is the Duke's personal bedroom, furnished with tables, bookshelves, paintings, a fireplace, and a bed fit for one of his status. Lastly, at the top of the keep's middle tower, is the bedroom of an unnamed noble. Now that I've covered the castle, along with all the primary services and residences of the town, I'd like to spotlight a few other notable points of interest and/or miscellaneous features. When approaching the town along the eastern road, one may notice a model of a castle just to their right. This is not a model of the Hernand castle, but rather the castle of Demonis. This is because the sculptor that created this model was originally from Demonis, being forced to flee from his homeland by Bastyr and his so-called righteous inquisitors. The model includes candles placed throughout it so that passersby see it even at night. It's common to see children playing around in the streets and alleys of the town. One child in particular is quite fond of the game Rock, Paper, Scissors, which he's more than happy to play with anyone. Unlike the games at the tavern, there is no cost to playing this game with the child. One can gain easy access to the city sewer by way of a trap door nearby the tavern. The interior is actually quite spacious, and all kinds of things from candles and pottery to crates and barrels can be found here, proving that this place is seemingly a hub of human activity. In fact, the sewer itself seems to be the ruins of an ancient site that the town was built upon. Rumor has it that there's even an altar located down here, surrounded by statues and symbols most associated with witches. Back on the surface, outside the southern walls of the castle, is an abyss nexus. This somewhat artificial structure is largely ignored by ordinary folk, who know little of its origin or purpose. Only those few individuals, imbued with the power of the abyss, can make use of this nexus to travel vast distances in a matter of seconds. One of the most joyous festivals that the town celebrates is the Harvest Festival. During this special occasion, the town is decorated with buntings and balloons, while confetti seemingly rains down from the sky. Jesters, dancers, and other entertainers perform in the streets for the townsfolk, and a great feast is held at the banquet hall in the castle. Last, but not least, is a statue constructed just outside the main southern entrance. This is, or can be, a recent addition to the town built by the Greymanes, who were given the Howling Hills to the south as their new home. Commissioned by a noble in the town, the statue depicts a howling wolf standing atop the corpse of a bear. The wolf represents the Greymanes, while the bear is a symbol of their nemesis, the Black Bears, who violently removed the tribe from their homeland of Paloon. Though the Black Bears believe the Greymanes to be forever broken and scattered, the tribe has managed to rebuild and reunite here in Hernand, proving their resilience in the face of a powerful foe. The noble believes that this majestic statue will be a symbol of hope to all who see it as they enter the town, whether passing through on their journey elsewhere, or staying to experience all that the town has to offer. And that's it for the town of Hernand. I know this isn't the usual kind of content that I cover on this channel, but I have been enjoying exploring the world of Crimson Desert, even though I've so far just spent the majority of my time in Hernand. That also means that I'm learning about the game's world and lore as I go along, which isn't really the case for my C&C videos, being already familiar with that franchise and needing to take a break from it. There's really a lot to this game, which makes uncovering and remembering all of it quite a challenge. I also just enjoy taking a closer look at towns and cities in video games, at least when I feel the developers put a lot of work into making them feel authentic. And for the most part, I think Pearl Abyss achieved that with Hernand, especially considering the wider context of the open world itself. I'm not sure if I'll make more videos regarding Crimson Desert. I guess it'll just depend on the reception to this video. But regardless, I hope you guys still enjoyed it, and let me know your thoughts on it. So until then, I hope to see you all in the next one.